So my name's Eric Lahti, and I am owner of a mid-sized construction company. We build pharmaceutical plants for the big pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, Takeda, that kind of stuff. Well, I won the ambulance from a local town in Massachusetts, way out west in Massachusetts, and it was an ambulance. I've been looking for probably 6 months and finally found one that was local. Um, Now there's a whole bunch local, but it fit the perfect what we were looking to do, and so we bought it and very happy with it. Yep, yeah, I had never bought an ambulance before. I've ridden in them a couple of times, but never bought one. Well, I'm a big Patriots fan. Boo-hoo, everybody says, but whatever. I've been a season ticket holder for 39 years, and I was looking for a bus originally, and my wife told me absolutely not. We're not putting a bus in our driveway. But she saw an ambulance on some tailgating show or football game. She goes, "Oh, we can do that." So that gave me the okay to go buy an ambulance. So that's how I got to that. And then, there's not a lot of information out there on how to make a tailgate vehicle out of an ambulance. So I kind of just winged it. What I did is like I said, I did some research. I knew what I wanted to put in it, kind of. The best thing about this ambulance, it came with a stretcher, which 90% of them don't. And I had this crazy idea that I was going to mount the grills to the stretcher. So everybody thought I was nuts. But right now it's like the showpiece of the whole parking lot that we park in. Because they just pull up, you unhook the stretcher like you would if there was a body in it or a person in it. You wheel it out, the wheels fall down, and you're ready to grill. When you're done at the end of the day, you push it in and it locks into place and it doesn't roll around. You're not picking up grills. It was actually an amazing idea that it was just kind of by luck. So that was the first thing I designed. That actually has a flat top to cook with, a barbecue grill, and a pizza oven. So we cook pizzas at the end of every game now. That's a new thing for us. And then on the inside, I wanted to get all the lights to work, because when you buy these things, they're half torn apart. So I figured out how to fix all the lights. All the lighting works now. Even though I got the sirens and the outside lights to work, but you can't use those on the street, just in the parking lot. And then we wanted to put a refrigerator in there, and a microwave, and we made some of the compartments for like clothes. We put like little smaller compartments in to put clothes in, because it gets cold during some of the games. So there's like lots of storage. We put a microwave in there to preheat stuff, like when you're come back from a game and you want to cook something, you can reheat some of the stuff you've previously cooked. Then we put a beer tap in it. We put a keg, and we made our own like keg cooler, because we couldn't find anything that would fit. So we bought all the pieces and put it together, and we ran a tap out for a keg. And then I also did one for mixed drinks. We bought a container and we put that so we have mixed drinks on tap and also beer on tap inside. And then I sat with a designer that did the outside wrap, and then they did some inside wrap stuff. And we were going to put the AstroTurf on the floor, but the floor was green in there anyway. So we just kind of left that alone, because AstroTurf, it would be hard to keep it clean after we had tried a piece in there, and it's like, this isn't really working. So trial and error. Electricity scares the heck out of me. Not good with electrical, but I was able to find a wiring diagram. So I'm a construction guy, I can read prints. So we followed out the circuitry. Come to find out how they disconnected most of the stuff is they just take the ground wires off of everything. And then with electricity, you have to complete a circuit, right? Positive and negative, and they got to touch somehow through some sort of connection. So I found all the loose wires, and the ones that they disconnected, I reconnected it. And then just slowly, there was a few fuses out and other things, and that's how we ended up putting it back together. I do drive it around town. But we don't really use it for much. I mean, we go to parties with it. We'll take it to a party, you know, like if we're not going to a game, we have a whole bunch of friends that um, we'll go to their houses and we'll take the ambulance with us and we'll, you know, do the tailgate in their driveway, or like Christmas time and on Saturday, or no, Sunday, right? No, Saturday is Christmas Eve. Um, all my grandkids are going to be up here, and my brother and his kids, and we're bringing the ambulance to his house, and we're going to cook out of it for Christmas Eve, and then, you know, Santa will come in for the little kids and stuff. So, and we're thinking of driving Santa in the ambulance to their house. So that could be something special. So you really should go look at it before you buy it, and I did that. I'm not, these things are old. Number one, this one was 20 years old. And you want to make sure it's in pretty decent shape. And unless you're a handy guy, I'm not a bodywork guy. So I was looking for pretty much a rust-free vehicle because I really don't want to start ripping off pieces and parts of it. Mechanically, I can fix just about anything. I'll figure it out. I'm a car guy, grew up doing cars. So I had that advantage. But I would definitely look at it and put a plan together because they're all different. There are different seating arrangements. You know, mine seats 8 people, 2 in the front and 6 in the back. You know, and that was important to us because we take 6 people with us all the time, sometimes 8. So, and it has seat belts for 8 people in it. So you got to really look and inspect that part of it. And just make sure it's, you know, what you're good at, you can fix, and that wouldn't matter to you. If you're not good at something, it's going to cost you to have somebody look at it and fix it, you know. And like I said, most of the stuff is pretty old with a high mileage, but you know, 100,000 miles on an ambulance is really not a lot on a diesel motor. Those things are good for 250,000 miles. So this thing's going to outlast me for sure. No, there was nothing that was, well, so we didn't know there was something wrong. I trailered it from the place we bought it to my house. And then I drove it down to get the wheels or the wrap put on it after we had it designed. And then I brought it back. And then the first game we went to go to with it, the rear brakes were stuck. So we had to turn around and go back because we didn't want the thing to burn up because it was pretty hot. So I ended up taking it apart, and it was just, you know, from I don't know how long it sat from the place I bought it from the town, probably 6 months or a year, I would imagine, because that's what most of them seem to be, taken out of service for about 6 months to a year before they go for auction. And then it sat in my yard for 4 or 5 months, so everything was stuck. And no, I didn't have to bring it anywhere. I just took it apart, and you know, I have my own shop, so I just took it apart and just replaced the brakes and everything. So it works beautifully now. No issues at all. It goes down the road very good, nice and straight. It's beautiful. A lot of probably 2 or 3 things from them. Small things, you know. I bid on a whole bunch of stuff, but you know, it gets to a point where it doesn't make any sense to me to buy it at that price. So it's, I figure out what I can pay for it or what it's worth to me is probably the best way to put it. I set my value, and then I stop. I do buy other things. I bought some small machinery and stuff like that. Know the value of what you're looking for. Realize that this is used equipment. Doesn't matter what it is, it's all used pretty much, not everything, but 90% of it. And then set a value to what, you know, you say you can pay X, say it's $1,000 for it new. What is it worth to you used? You know, is it $500? Is it $750? You just need to have that plan before you get carried away on an auction, because that's the biggest problem with some people. They get carried away, and I was at fault of doing that. I love auctions. That's my thing. It's my like hobby, I guess you'd say. My wife hates it, but whatever. They come home with a lot of crazy stuff. Oh, it was a field, like a hand field mower, like not one that attaches to a tractor. It was this like big wheel, high field mower. Um, and when I got it, it needed a lot more work than I thought, but that's fine. I still use it. So that was kind of the weirdest thing I bought. I really didn't need it, but it was one of those things that I could use it. We have a small little Christmas tree farm and we use it around that. So you can get stuff on here that's just not ordinary, like an ambulance. You're not going to buy that anywhere else except for on a government auction. A fire truck, they people are really into converting this kind of equipment now. And I myself think it's a great idea, just because it's cheaper for somebody to do it, right? Number one, they can buy it, like I say, an old ambulance. You can make a camper out of them. I've seen a few that people make campers out of them. They're pretty cool campers. And if you're handy enough and you can do the work, it's well worth it. You'll save yourself, tens of thousands of dollars. If you're not so handy, you're not going to save any money. You have to have a handy bone in your body. You have to be able to do one thing or another. You just can't pay for everything, because it's not going to be worth it at that point. If you're in the market for equipment, machinery, that kind of stuff, there's no better place to look than here. It's just a good site to go to. Yeah, I did. So it's a Ford. So the Ford Econoline, the truck itself is a Ford truck, right? And then the box is a Horton, which is a big manufacturer of ambulances. But the ambulance itself is made with like a lot of like the plugs and stuff. It's just regular household plugs. The wiring is nothing special. It's just like extension cord material. It's called SO cord, but so they run SO cord through between the plates of the box. And anything I've needed, anything like I modified, we put a TV in it, and to blank out a compartment, I used a piece of plastic and the plywood, and we built it out a little bit so it rotates into place. And it just takes a little time to think about what you're doing, and you can buy most anything for it. There was no problem at all getting parts for it. It was the first game that we actually, not the first time I tried to go to a game, but the first game that we went to, we pulled in the parking lot, and there was actually another ambulance in the parking lot at the time. We pulled in, we parked, and I bet there was 200 people waiting in line to see this thing, to see my ambulance. It was the funniest thing ever. I've never had that many people at my tailgate. I go with 20 people to every tailgate. Like I take 8, friends of mine take 6, and there's like five cars that come. So we all kind of congregate together, but there was a line waiting to walk through the ambulance. It was the funniest thing. And then the guy that owned the ambulance that I passed on the way in, he goes, "I saw you pull in. I wanted to check it out." He goes, "I got the best ambulance in this place." And I said, "Oh, cool. Really neat. That's a good thing." I said, "Mine's pretty good, but yours might be better." He comes out and he goes, "No, I got to give up the number 1 spot. You're the best one here." So that was funny. That was the coolest thing, because I didn't build it for anybody but myself. No, I wanted an ambulance. Well, my wife did, because she wants to stay warm, because all the heat and the AC works, so she can go sit inside. I designed tables to fit in there. Like you pull out the stretcher with the grills on it, and then I have a table that locks right into place where the stretcher was, so that you can sit inside and eat and stay warm, and have a few drinks or whatever you want to do, is not be out in the cold elements. So I had seen them, but I'd never been anywhere near close to one. Like they're in other parking lots. The parking lot I was in never had an ambulance. It was always big buses and stuff like that, mostly cars and trucks, but there was never an ambulance. It was, like panel vans and stuff like that people had converted, but nothing like an ambulance in my parking lot. So there was no way to get ideas except for all the searches I did online looking for it. And Then I just put my own thoughts into how I wanted to do it. I made a whole big list of things that we were going to do, and that's what we did. 3 weeks to put it together. So as long as you have everything, you can build it. So me and my brother helped me put it together, and we knocked it out in 3 weeks. Well, number one is it's ambulance is one car space, right? So you pay for the one car space, so it's only the $50. You bring a bus, it's $150 to park. That I never really thought about that, and to do the work on the ambulance was fairly simple. We did it in 3 weeks. I think if I did a bus, I'd probably still be working on it. There was a lot of I had a lot of ideas for it. Still have a lot of ideas for a tailgate bus, but those conversions aren't as simple as an ambulance. An ambulance is done. It's insulated. Just a little bit of work to get lights going and make some tables and do the grill thing, and it was fairly easy to do. But I think it's a great thing. It's a great tool. I try to spread the word as much as I can. You can buy some pretty cool stuff on there, and for a pretty good price.